This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 957, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, Tennessee, Relevant Senior Editor Tyler Huckabee.
Howdy.
Derek is out again today. And from Austin, Texas, author, speaker, podcaster, Jamie Ivey.
Hey, guys.
We have a great show in store for you today. Coming up later, we talk to Ekemini Uwan and Dr. Christina Edmondson. It's a fascinating conversation. Derek actually does the interview, so we will hear Derek Miner today. So
it's actually, he blew it away. Like I thought it was a really, I sat in on it. I did not join the conversation, but I was there in case anything went awry. They didn't need me at all. In fact, I probably held it back. It showed me because it's a really, really great conversation. I'm glad we get to share it with you guys. And I thought everybody did great, but Derek hit a home run. We got to get this guy interviewing more people.
Yay,
we
Derek.
also have your feedback at the end of the show. We have slices coming up, but before we get going, this is an audio medium. And you guys don't realize that we see each other visually. Uh-huh. It looks like Jesse is through the sat phone coming to us live from Kuwait or something out on the. I don't know why you're desaturated and you look like you're at an army.
I don't know either. I know the power went out here recently, and so maybe all the modems are booting back up. But I'm in a very high traffic area. I'm going to point, and I think I showed you this earlier. There's a window right here, and you can see probably people out there right now at street level. And
that window is about 3 feet from you, and that window is directly on a busy sidewalk. So you've got people walking by 3 feet away from you. My question is that clear glass or is it tinted/reflective glass?
It's clear
Can they
on my
see
side.
you?
It's clear on my side, and I can see out perfectly. All they see is a mirror, a giant mirror. And it's not a small window. It goes from floor to ceiling.
I love it.
And I spend much of my day looking out this window, and people will come and stare directly into it, not knowing there is a person directly on the other side.
Man.
Surely they realize that you guys didn't install a mirror on the outside of your building, and it's a window. I mean,
you'd be shocked. So, and I get pretty used to it. People will come. Mainly, they're just kind of fixing their hair.
But sometimes you do just need a reflection, right? Like you're not thinking about who's on the other side. You're just like, oh, I just need to check. I just need to see what's going on.
Yeah, and I don't mind. I've had other people in my office when this is happening, because it happens throughout the day, the entire day, right? People just stand there and fix themselves. Some people will be in my office and they'll be on this side and start pounding on the window to try to scare them. That's not my style. I casually sit back. But the other day, I was sitting here and a guy walks by, and I could tell the way he's moving, he's a little jittery, right? And he looks a little nervous. Like,
oh, nervous.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just looks anxious. Okay. And then he turns around, he looks out of the side of his eye, and he sees the mirror, and he walks by, and I'm like, okay. Then I see him walk back by and look at the mirror. Okay. You could tell he was on his way somewhere. He, like I said, seemed a little anxious. And then he just stood there, stared at himself, and started nodding and doing deep breaths and gave himself a pep talk right in the mirror. Like, he was like, you got this. Listen, you are unstoppable. You're going to do this. And I'm standing right here on the other side. What am I supposed to do? Like, it's not like I filmed the guy or anything, but he gave himself this awesome pep talk and then clapped his hands and just marched away. I almost ran out of the building, was like, you go get him, man. You go get him.
Yes.
But it was a guy straight up giving himself a pep talk direct. And the weird thing is, they're at about eye level. It looked like he was giving me the pep talk. It was a very awkward experience. And I did
you accept it as to you as well? Maybe it was for you too, Jesse.
I was so motivated that afternoon. Yes. I crushed it because, how would you all react? Would you have run out there or would you spared him the dignity and knocked on the window? I was just dumbfounded that what I was.
Jesse,
watching.
we've had a number of offices that I mean, so for 6 years we were in Winter Park, and we were on a street, a very walkable street, and had a lot of windows. And there was a college across the street. I would mess with, like the baseball, there's a college baseball stadium across the street. And they had a rule that if they hit a ball out during baseball practice, the player who hit it had to go get it, had to go fetch the ball. Well, these balls are flying into our parking lot. They are a hazard. So if we ever saw a ball go flying past the window, I'd run out there and grab the ball before the player saw. And then we'd see baseball players milling all around our parking lot looking for their baseball and stuff. So yeah, I'm the guy who goes out and messes with people, messes with pedestrians. So I would have probably done a light tap on the window, just enough to say, thanks, buddy.
Someone made the discovery that if I get up close enough to the window, like just put my nose,
you come
up,
in like a ghost figure or something.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about getting a scary mask, or at least a comical mask.
Jesse, not to that man though,
Like
not to him, not on that day of his life. No,
the ghost of Abe Lincoln's back there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
do that. And do like thumbs ups and stuff. Like, oh, dude,
just nod. I just nod slowly in an Abraham Lincoln mask from the you see through the veil darkly. You never know what's back there. It could be Abraham Lincoln giving you a thumbs up.
Absolutely. I had a big gorilla mask in my office for years. I would put that on.
That's right.
Have like a big gorilla just kind of come up.
But would you fade in and out, or would you bob around like you're a captive gorilla?
No, I would just kind of come in and then I'd be gone, and he'd be like, "Did I just see what I thought I saw? Is there a gorilla in that room? What is going on?"
And they have no way of checking. There's no like street access to here. It would be a mystery forever, and I would love it.
Hey, give them a story to tell.
Remember that one time we walked by that mirror, and there was a legit captive gorilla back there, and he was pounding on the glass. And I think
he tells his friends
voice,
for years. You know that building that has no entrance right there? You know what they do? Animal experiments. I saw a gorilla once.
and it tapped on the glass, and I think in a creepily human voice it said, "Help me, help me, help me, help me." They're doing experiments in here. It's crazy.
Oh man, I'd be all about that. You got to do that, man. That's fun.
Hopefully, I wouldn't be shocked if someone pokes in. I'll turn my camera if it happens during the recording. So
I can send you my gorilla mask. I still have it.
Please do.
All right.
They're experimenting in here. Help, Coco. Help, Coco. Oh my gosh. We need to help him. They got a very human-like monkey in there.
I think we got our end of the show clip. Help Coco. Help Coco. All right.
I was trying to give myself a pep talk before this big job interview. All of a sudden, I stumbled upon some... I mean, this thing was human-like. It sounded like a human man talking.
Like a Planet of the Apes situation.
Coco may be the most brilliant ape ever who's trapped in that random office. Why did they just have him in an office? Who is Coco? And then one day I'm just gonna come running around the block like in the ape mask, but wearing like a human robe, and just run and just watch as
oh my god,
just keep going.
Yeah,
you just
not
past
stop.
the person.
Just don't stop. Just run down the beach until out of sight.
They found a gorilla with nigh human intelligence. And they have him working for a podcast studio, maybe?
Listen, it's hard. This job market is hard to find good people. We had to actually experiment and then train a living primate
gosh.
No, you're just proving the model that podcasting is so simple a monkey could do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Now, I will say this. We've done lots of experiments on this monkey, but nonetheless, it's a monkey that's producing podcasts.
Coco likes MeUndies.
Now I want to tell you about Squarespace.com. When I was making my first monkey website, their 24-hour customer service.
Are you tired of eating bananas all day? Coco likes HelloFresh.
I used to get so mad at my own internet provider, I would just fling my poo all day. Now, with Squarespace's 24/7 customer service, I have plenty of time for climbing and bananas.
Well, hopefully this podcast is better than one that a monkey could produce. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
This was a weird 10 minutes, guys. Who's on the show today?
I already said all that.
I apologize to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just wanted to preemptively apologize.
Derek and Ekemini and Dr. Yeah. All right, well, moving the show along. Stay tuned. Up next, it's Monkey Slices. You're listening to Moist. The song is Cell Phone Receiver. No, I didn't say moist. I know that word's gross to a lot of you. I said moist. There's an E on the end. Good band. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Mercy Ships. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. Mercy Ships provides free, life-transforming surgeries for people who have little to no access to medical care. They help the blind see, straighten twisted limbs, remove deadly tumors, treat cleft conditions, and so much more. With state-of-the-art hospital ships, they provide safe surgery to children and adults living with treatable conditions, and it's completely free of charge. They do all this work with an all-volunteer crew of professionals who donate their time and talents. Surgeons, stewards, nurses, engineers, and more make the world a better place. Your donation today provides free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of help. All gifts are matched, so please donate today at mercyships.org/relevant. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Tim Tebow's book, Look Again. Have you ever wondered what would change if you truly believed you were infinitely valuable to God? In his New York Times bestselling book, Look Again, Tim Tebow reveals the powerful truth that when we learn to see the image of God in every person, including those we struggle to love, everything changes. Tebow shares incredible stories from his work with people the world often overlooks, and it will challenge you to stand up to the lies, rediscover the worth that everyone has, and impact the world for good. Find Look Again by Tim Tebow, available now wherever books are sold. Okay, it's time for
Slices.
All right, what do you have, Coco?
All right. Well, honestly, this is ironically, I didn't plan to talk about a fictional monkey experiments for 15 minutes and then have a related slice. But I guess it's somewhat related because it comes from the world of the animal kingdom. And this was actually a really cool story. I got turned on to it because I was listening to Vox's great podcast, Unexplainable, and they had a scientist from MIT on who's been working with DARPA, which is this crazy kind of military technological intelligence agency. And the DARPA has essentially said they will give pretty much an unlimited budget, hundreds of millions of dollars, if an engineer could figure out basically how to produce a robotic version of a dog's nose. They call it the nano nose. And the reason they think that this could be a really profound scientific breakthrough is because they have proven that dogs can be trained to smell cancer, Parkinson's, malaria, and even there's some studies that believe that they can detect COVID-19 just with one sniff of a human. The crazy thing is, modern science doesn't fully understand how dogs are able to do this just by smelling. But there are tests. There's a story of one lady who had a really deep tumor that, other than like really advanced imaging technology and x-rays, would be undetectable, that a dog was able to not just, identify, but didn't identify where on her body this tumor was, on like her hip bone or something. But they also can be trained to kind of sniff out, various diseases. And they said that if there's another pandemic, God forbid, but if there's another...
Well, there will be.
Yeah. I mean, when the next pandemic, whether it's, as bad as this one or worse, one of the major things we ran into was the lack of, testing that was available. So if they can make this nano nose, which they're really close to kind of reverse engineering the functionality of a dog's nose, it'll actually be a device you can plug into your phone. And you can hold it up to your body and it will sniff you and can make health diagnosis without even ever touching you because of the technology that they're figuring out how these dog noses work. And when you think about, it's not actually necessarily like an odor like we think. It's that their nostrils are able to interpret molecules in ways that just humans aren't. So if they can crack this functionality, it could be a significant breakthrough and make diagnostic technology available to humanity around the globe. So really weird, but kind of interesting story that they're working on.
That's cool.
There's this book I read a long time ago called Dancing in the Rain or something like that. The rain and the dog.
Dances with Wolves. But
the dog, the art of racing in the rain, something like that.
Sure.
I don't know. But anyhow, he had a dog and the dog smelled cancer. He found it in his wife. I just gave away the whole book, but there you go.
Oh.
It's kind of crazy that you're talking about that.
Spoiler alert.
I know. Spoiler alert.
I have a dog, and I know you're not a dog person, Jesse, but like I live on a lake, and I'll just, it's beautiful in the, early evening and after work's done, I'll just go out on the porch and sit, watch the sunset. And I just sit there and he hangs out with me next to me and he is just smelling the air nonstop, and I know he's smelling something from miles away and he's just very alert and he's just very thoughtful about it. And he's just very intentional about smelling. And I sit there and think about, I wonder what you're smelling because I smell nothing, So yeah, these dog nose things, man,
it's wild.
I'm in.
That could be really cool.
Yeah. And when you think about the implications, especially for individuals in developing countries that don't have access to the diagnostic technology that a lot of Western countries do, it literally could be something that is attached to your phone and send a report to a doctor and they could immediately figure out a treatment plan. It's really cool, but it goes back to basic, the basic natural design of a dog's nose. That really could be a super transformative piece of medical technology.
But I'm just trying to figure out, like, how could we ever know that we got it right? Like, we don't know. Like, it's like we don't know, like a deaf person we could describe what hearing is to them, but they will never understand what hearing is. We'll never understand what the dog is actually smelling or sensing, or like, how will we know that we got it right? They're just trying to come up with a sensor. You know what I mean?
Well, if the results speak for themselves, I suppose the results speak for themselves. If it works,
yeah,
we don't have to know what it's like to smell like a dog does. If they can recreate it on a tech level.
Well, Freaky Friday, you can switch
true.
bodies, or what was it? Airbud?
Tim Allen,
what's the one where the human becomes the dog and vice versa?
That's not Freaky Friday.
Look who's talking to. The first one was babies.
Boss Baby.
The second was dogs. Yeah.
3 Men and a Baby. That's what I was thinking of.
No, but Cameron, it's interesting you mentioned that because like they're not trying to create the smells that dogs create, but create the smell identification system so that if the right combination of molecules go through this complex set of filters, that for a dog, when those molecules make it way through the nose filter system, it triggers something into their brain that says that's cancer or that's this or that.
So we're just trying to replicate a model that the dogs have shown us that this is possible. Let's figure out how it's possible, but we're not trying to actually recreate the dog nose. Yeah. Got it. Cool. All right. What do you have, Jamie?
All right. This is also kind of a recreation thing here. All right. Dyson. You're familiar with Dyson. Does anyone have a Dyson vacuum?
I do.
Okay, we have one.
And
I do.
Dyson air fan thing.
You have the Dyson air fan?
I love using the blade at fancy restaurants where you jam your hands in there and you kind of feel like, this is a very dated reference, but I've never stopped saying it. Catherine Zeta-Jones dancing through the laser field, because you don't want to touch the sides. That defeats the purpose of putting your hands in the blade.
Right.
Like you have to hold them very still while the water
but do they
is...
work for you? Like every time I've ever used a blade, it's like, I get this is an air squeegee, but my hands are still wet. So like I'm damp afterwards. I'm not dripping.
You got to stay a little extra long. A few more dips, Cameron.
They're completely ineffective, but it's an interesting sensation that Mr. Tyson has come up with.
You got this little like line of air on your hands. It's kind of like, ooh, neat. Yeah.
They also have like a Dyson blow dryer and curling iron, which I do not fit either one of those because they each cost like, I think they're like $800 or something. Yeah. And like, I don't have time for that.
I gave one as a Christmas gift once. But,
I'll take it next year. Okay, so Dyson has been working on something. When I tell you what they're working on, I want you to know they started working on this 6 years ago. This has nothing to do with the No, but close. Has nothing to do with the pandemic. This is a zone pollution mask, which also doubles as headphones. All right. So it is a contraption that you put on. Okay. So it has noise canceling headphones that also cancel out the fans. And then this mask, and there's two photos that I've seen in this article that I'll send you guys. One, it actually has it covering the nose, which I'm like, oh, pandemic, that's great. But another one, it doesn't even go over the nose. It's an air filtration system that you walk around with. So they started working on this because, pollution is so very bad. And so this is something, it's a head-mounted, fan-powered personal air purifier with over-the-ear headphones. All right? So it has these... I
see it. You look like a robot. It covers your mouth.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that me and Jamie did not plan this? My slice was about a super advanced nose. Hers is about an anti-nose. And they both use technology.
Covering up the nose. So it has two tiny precision engineered compressors within each cup that draw air through dual layer filters. Okay. And then it does all this other stuff where it filters out the bad and brings in the good. And so you would wear it if you're like a traveler on a subway system or you're outside a lot.
If I saw somebody wearing that, I mean, literally, you throw a visor on it and you look like a sci-fi character.
Yeah, you look like Daft Punk.
You look like Bane from Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, or this is a Star Wars character.
Did Coco get on here?
Yes. Coco, down, Coco.
He's running down the beach. Get him.
This is how they put this on Coco, and this is how they translate to human speech.
I don't want to alarm anyone. I just saw a very upright monkey man just run out of that office and just keep going. And there's been reports of experiments over there. It's a lot of rumors. I don't want to alarm anyone.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
This is going to be on the market in the fall. But Cameron, this is what I was telling Tyler before we started. This is a thing that I would like us all to think about. What is the thing that you saw 5 years before you got it that you said, this is the dumbest thing I'll never buy this. I'll never do this. I'll never be a part of this. And now you love it. I'm not saying I'm going to be into this. I'm just saying it seems like it falls into that category of something crazy that you say, I'm never going to.
I'm an early adopter. I'm a tech nerd. I'm an early adopter. I'm first in line for the new device. I'm out on this just because you look so ridiculous. Like, you do not look like a normal, emotionally stable person if you're walking down the street wearing this helmet. You look like a psycho. So I'm out.
I'm out too, but
I see. I mean, but even on an airplane somewhere where you're kind of like, it's kind of, I wish I'd put on a gas mask in here. Like sometimes I'm in a situation where it's like I would gladly, like a public restroom, I would slide that thing on and not care if anyone's judging me. I'm getting a fully filtrated experience.
I have a middle school boy in my house, and they make a lot of bad smells, and I'm trapped in the car with these smells a lot. I would never wear this device because of odors.
Because of those concerns? Yeah. Huh?
I just, this is really weird. I wish, this is an audio medium. I wish we could accurately capture how ridiculous this looks.
We'll post it to social media when this goes live. We can put it on Twitter and people can go check it out and see it there. Because it is, you don't understand how strange you would look. This is not it's not even like weird goggles or big headphones. This is a statement. If you walk outside in this,
it looks like the Epcot designers designed this. This looks like a theme park VR set.
Yeah.
That did not look cool when it came out, and it did not age well. It just looks like a 1990s version of high tech. It's really bad.
Yeah,
anyway.
It's bad.
All right. What do you have, Tyler?
Okay, so this is we'll go shorter because I know we kind of ran long on the Coco bit, but I think we have heard about, and it's possible that I have even discussed, maybe brought as a slice or a relevant buzz, the news about the planned sequel to The Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson.
Excuse me. You said we ran long on the Coco bit. We did not devote enough time.
We ran long on everything but the Coco bit.
That's all I'm saying. That was the most important thing that we could have possibly covered. That's going to change humanity.
I saw on a report like a week ago that this podcast was downloaded 1 million times last month. Now, you ask yourself, Tyler, are they looking for things like right in the cross section of faith, culture, and social issues? Or are they looking about hypothetical situations involving a captive monkey who's having experiments conducted on him and a prank
podcast experiments? Podcast experiments.
You tell me, Tyler. I don't know if the analytics go that deep, but human intuition does. I don't need a nano dog nose for me to sniff out what's happening here.
As Tyler's about to bring us something about the Passion of the Christ.
Listen, as you know, we're closing out the Lent season with the most reverent time of the year, Holy Week, where Christ died and suffered on the cross and was rose again. And we're choosing to devote most of this podcast to a hypothetical ape who's having podcast experiments conducted on him. Just want to make sure everyone's aware of what's happening there.
Anyway, all right. Well, I don't know about anyway. Maybe I can find a way to dovetail this to get these two things together. We'll see what happens. We've talked about the potential sequel to The Passion of the Christ, right? That there's I think I've brought this. We've talked about it. We've definitely written about it at irrelevantmagazine.com before. So I've become sort of a truther on this. I have a conspiracy theory about this. I think that this movie is not real, and I think that Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus Christ in the first Passion, is just trying to will it into existence by talking about it whenever he's asked until Hollywood finally can. I think it's like a Snyderverse thing, like the Snyder Cut. If you say it enough that it exists enough, eventually you drum up enough public support.
You think that the what is he, in his mid-50s now? Jim Caviezel.
He's getting up
wanting
there.
to play a 32-year-old Jesus.
Right.
Is like nobody offered him that role because it's clearly ridiculous. He's trying to get it made because it would be a lifelong achievement for him. So he's just talking it into existence. You do not think that they're actually shooting this movie?
I think I can prove it. And you're telling me that he would reprise, or should I say resurrect his role as Jesus, even though he is now like 25 years older than Jesus ever was during his time? Okay.
That's correct. The whole ridiculous part of it.
You guys are getting into some of my evidence for this, but we can go. I fell down a very deep rabbit hole looking into all of this because Jim Caviezel does talk about this a lot in interviews. As recently as 2020, he said, Mel Gibson just sent me the third draft. It's coming. It's called The Passion of the Christ Resurrection. It's going to be the biggest film in world history. And he does, every time he's asked about this, it's always some very grandiose statement. Like, not only is it coming, but it's going to change cinema. This is going to be a motion picture. He also, this was from 2018. He said, I won't tell you how Mel is going to go about it, but I'll tell you this much. The film he's going to do is going to be the biggest film in history. It's that good. All right. So he gives lots of quotes like these while he's talking. The thing is, I do not think there is any actual evidence that this movie is happening or that anybody has even planned on it happening or that there is even a script in existence of any draft of any kind.
Have we heard from Mr. Gibson himself?
Yes. So we have heard from Mr. Gibson himself. In 2016, he was on USA Today. He was talking about about Hacksaw Ridge. And he said, and they asked him, like, oh, Jim Caviezel, to talk about the Passion sequel coming up. And he says, oh, yeah, the resurrection. Big subject. Oh, my goodness. We're trying to craft this in a way that's cinematically compelling and enlightening so it shines new light, if possible, without creating some weird thing. So that's sort of a non-committal. He says there's a resurrection. That's a big deal. We're trying to do something with it, maybe. And he's then 2 years later in 2018, he sits down with Fox News and he's asked about this script again. And he says, well, it's a tall order. It's a vast theological experience. It gets pretty wild. It's an acid trip. And you can hear, and we can maybe draw, you can hear in his voice, he gets sort of like a little bit trepidatious because he's asked, how close are you to being done? And he says, well, it's sort of never ending. It keeps revealing itself more and more the further you get into it. Everything from the fall of the angels to, it's just crazy. It opens up all these channels. This is the sort of thing that I say when I have not started on a piece yet. Like if Gamer comes to me and is like, hey, deadline's coming up on this piece. How are we doing on it? I'm like, oh, there's so much there. We just haven't, we're really just digging into, and he's like, okay, well, when is it going to be done? I did not
realize that was assigned to me. I thought we had outsourced that.
Also, Jim Caviezel was 8 years younger when they were talking about this in 2016 or 2014. I know,
it's been a long time. He appeared again. Mel Gibson was on the Colbert Report. Not the Colbert. I always do that. I still think of the Colbert Report. Looked like 20 years ago. He was on Stephen Colbert, and Colbert asked him about it and asked him, "Hey, is this still happening?" And Gibson says, "It's a few years off because it's such a big subject." And so Colbert asks him, "Well, what's it about?" He says, "Would you actually do it sort of like Inferno," referencing the poem? And Gibson says, "Well, I'm not sure, but it's worth thinking about, isn't it?" It's worth thinking about, isn't it? He doesn't even sound like he has the scope of this movie down yet. Like he doesn't know what it would. He's like, you're
dead on. You're a truther. You have revealed that it is not happening. Does Jim Caviezel know it's not happening, or is he like in denial,
trying to will it into existence? Yeah. And he might be successful on it. He could talk about it enough that people are finally like, well, there's interest. People do seem to get excited whenever he comes up with it, but I don't want to get, this could get very dark if we talk about all the various, like, Mel Gibson has obviously been accused of like very like serious things and has had to like apologize for those things. Jim Caviezel has become a very big QAnon guy. Like he's fallen really deep down the QAnon rabbit hole and believes in some very weird stuff. So that doesn't mean that Hollywood won't work with these guys. Hollywood will work with anybody who makes money, but there's definitely a cost assessment to working with, like, that's a liability for a movie like this.
Well, one of them seems to have a very tenuous relationship with truth. And so just the fact that Jim Caviezel is suggesting the movie will happen, he also suggests that global elites are adrenochroming, these weird ceremonies and stuff. So I would take anything he says with some degree of skepticism.
We can solve this whole thing. You don't have to wait for a movie. If you just go to the largest church in your town on April 17th, you're going to be able to see the whole production go down.
Oh,
they're going to have a play.
Largest Baptist church in your town.
Largest Baptist church. They're going to have a play. Camels bringing in. Well, that's the birth of Jesus. Maybe.
There could be camels. You could do
camels.
They bring them in.
Yeah, they bring them in.
Sunday before, you could have a donkey and the palms and stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
My church brings in a hyper intelligent ape into the production.
What role does he play?
All of them.
They take some liberties, but it's
a one-man show. It's a one-monkey show.
And he's improving most of it. Last year went pretty
very
far
heretical.
off script. Yeah, even by intelligent monkey standards, it was some weird stuff. But it was popular 2 hours at the church. So we'll see what he's got to say this year.
Even by monkey theology standards, it was heretical.
We gave a nice love offering after.
Of bananas, you just threw a whole bunch of bananas at him.
We just threw bananas at him, which he seemed to either enjoy or he was flown into a blind rage. It was hard to tell. Because we quickly returned him to his cage, and so we don't know.
Yeah, he needed to record another 3 episodes anyway, so he had stuff to do.
He's got a lot on his plate.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for Slices. Stay tuned. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry to our guests.
He had like 4 mattress ads he had to record.
Stay tuned. Up next, Ekemini Uwan and Dr. Christina Edmondson join us. You're listening to Why Mona? Why Mona? The song is Lemons. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by John Mark Comer's book, Garden City, a book that speaks to the tension we all feel between work, rest, and purpose. The New York Times bestselling author John Mark Comer takes us to the scriptures to identify what it really means to be human and flips the script on the idea that who you are matters, not what you do. He shows that God created us for meaningful work and meaningful rest. Both matter. This book helps you ask and answer the big questions. Does God care where I work? Is there a direction for my life? So you can discern God's heart for your calling, your rhythms, and the way His Spirit wants to shape every part of your life. If you're longing for purpose and a more grounded way to live, check out the new hardcover edition of Garden City wherever books are sold. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new book, God, the Science, the Evidence. We talk a lot about faith, but how often do we talk about science in the same breath? You might be surprised to discover just how deeply the two actually agree. For centuries, science has been used to dismiss the idea of God, but today an intellectual revolution is underway. Modern discoveries in physics, cosmology, and biology are consistently revealing the same truth: creation isn't an accident. That profound reversal is what engineers Michel-Yves Bolloré and Olivier Bonassi investigate in their international bestseller, God, the Science, the Evidence. This book is a rigorous, evidence-based critique of materialism, inviting you to explore over a dozen scientific, philosophical, and historical domains. It shows that what was once seemed impossible, that science could point to a creator, is now supported by a vast and convergent body of evidence. With over 400,000 copies sold in Europe, this book is sparking a global debate. It's thoughtful, fascinating, and a powerful reminder that reason itself affirms the existence of God. Learn more and find out where you can purchase your copy today by visiting GodTheScienceTheEvidence.com. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Erwin McManus's book, The Barbarian Way. Some books don't just inspire you, they confront you. The Barbarian Way, now celebrating its 20th anniversary, is one of those books. If you felt the pull of God towards something deeper and wilder than the safe, predictable version of faith that we settle for, McManus reminds us that following Jesus was never meant to be tame. It's meant to awaken courage, passion, and purpose God placed inside us. He draws from the wild stories of Abel, Noah, Moses, Rahab, and others to remind us that following God wasn't meant to be tame. Safe faith isn't working. Step into the story God is writing for you. Choose passion, choose boldness, choose The Barbarian Way. Available now wherever books are sold. Well, today's guests are Ekemini Uwan and Dr. Christina Edmondson. They're co-authors of Truth's Table, a collection of essays and stories that explore the faith and spirituality necessary for a more freeing, loving, and liberating faith. They sat down with our very own Derek Minor to discuss the challenges Black women continue to face in churches, the triumphs they've experienced in their justice work, and what they wish more people understood about racial equality in America. It's an important conversation. Here's Derek Minor with Ekemini Uwan and Dr. Christina Edmondson.
So the book is broken down into 3 sections. It's life, it's love, and it's liberation. And there's a chapter that really kind of struck me that I'm like, man, I want to hear the heart behind this one. It says, protest as spiritual practice. And I think right behind that, we have decolonize discipleship. Now, it almost feels like protest as a spiritual practice. When people think spiritual practice, they think Zen. They don't think protest. They think Zen. And I think sometimes, like as we've looked at some of the riffs, you hear the big conversation of, we need to strive for unity, right? We need to strive for unity. But you're saying protest as a spiritual practice. Can you really inform us as to what's the mind behind that? That's a brilliant chapter.
Yeah, that's Michelle's chapter. And so, and that she is an organizer, right, for the movement for Black lives. And so, but I think that in a theological sense, like I can't speak for her, but right. I could say just from our framework, just as Christians, I think that we are born. Well, actually, Christina has a whole chapter about being born to resist. Okay, we're reborn to resist and resisting sin, resisting powers and principalities that are at work. Those dark forces. People don't like to talk about this, but listen, we believe in spiritual warfare at Truth's Table. Okay, so we believe that there's a real devil trying to get you, and that unless you get under the blood of Jesus Christ. That don't mean no good. So let me just, get my little black church bag right there with that. But I would say that, we're born to, we are born to resist. That's what we do. That's what it means to be Christians. We're always actually beating back, or ought to be pushing back the powers and principalities of darkness, systems of oppression that mean to bind, tie up the marginalized, those who are destitute, the poor. Jesus came to come against, the imperialistic powers of our natural order as well. Not only just in the natural, but also spiritual. So that is the fabric of our faith, and so I think it is a spiritual, it has a serious spiritual component to it. And so that's why I'm glad that chapter is in there, because I think it's important, because people have a hard time holding those two together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons why people have a hard time holding it together is because there's a concerted effort to not be able to hold them together. And I also think, depending on your social vantage point and privileges, you have a greater or less desperation to be able to embrace that truth, right? And so we could probably look throughout throughout generations across different continents and see people who are now the descendants of people who would have embraced this idea of the kind of protesting Christian when they were at the bottom, when they were being subjugated by the king, right? But now in maybe a seat of privilege in some generations where they are today, that may seem out of order. And they may even be tempted to manipulate theology to suppress those who are part of the family of God to not speak up when God has compelled them to do so. So certainly I think, where we sit in this social project causes us to seek out scripture with different types of desperations.
Right. And in that same one, I see forgiveness. I see that in that same section, forgiveness. Can you unpack that? Because I think, I know me as a Black man, and for a lot of my brothers and sisters, we ain't made it there yet in certain places, right? We're struggling a little bit. Can you unpack the importance of that chapter for me?
Yeah, so that's one of my chapters, and it's interesting because I think Derek, I've had other people talk about that. They're like, "Oh Lord,"
right?
and yet I think, So I tried to do some framing around what is forgiveness and what it means to carry these debts, and what debts can we even expect to be paid, and what we are due. But I don't think of forgiveness as one and done. I think of forgiveness as a disposition in which we live with.
Oh,
it's kind of a desire or a longing that we have is to live free. Right. To live unburdened. And so the example then that chapter people will read is, I talk about what is, if you ever had a debt collector call you, if you've ever owed anything or people think you owe something, like, debt collectors have a really exhausting job because they get cussed out people.
Exactly.
Yeah. And oftentimes, when people have wronged us, like straight up, because that's what happens to us in this life. There are people who we have our sin. People certainly sin against us, and Christ has something to say about that in his death and resurrection, even our sins and the sins against us, that we can live like perpetual debt collectors. We're constantly trying to collect debts from people. And the level of work and exhaustion that can take. And it doesn't mean that we're not due it. We're due justice. We do these things. Right. But it can also be a distraction at times. It can become all consuming. And so in that sense, thinking about how forgiveness can free us up. And I think to think about the ways in which Black women have been mistreated so deeply and ignored and attempted to be silenced because we're still talking.
Right.
And the consequences we bear for when we talk. That I think that there's a credibility in Black women talking about the freeing and liberative power of forgiveness.
There was a very interesting chapter, and it really connected with me. I went to a multi-ethnic church in my formative years, just, college and after college. And I remember thinking like, okay, this is what we're supposed to do, right? Like it's supposed to be the church is supposed to be, all of these people put together and all in this one place. And I remember the way it ended really, really badly. And it really happened around the time Mike Brown was killed and Walter Scott and all these different brothers and sisters. And I remember just being so heartbroken, being destroyed internally, just being like, I'm feeling unprotected. And still to this day, still carry some of those wounds. And there's a chapter here, for selfish reasons, I would love for you to unpack it, because I think there's probably some people that are in multi-ethnic churches that are listening, and for people that may have left some multi-ethnic churches. And the chapter says love and justice in multi-ethnic worship. Please unpack that one for me.
Well, this is, so Michelle, this is, Michelle's kind of worship leader and church leadership wheelhouse in a lot of ways. My work, it's interesting because I don't talk a ton about this topic, although I spent a fair amount of time through research and collaboration talking about racism in the church, multicultural, multi-ethnic churches, all those things outside of this book. I took it as an opportunity to not talk a whole lot about that in this book for me. So much else talk more about that.
Right.
But I would say, but Derek, what you just described, I think there's a lot of people who see that and are told that, like, this is a foretaste of heaven. This is the way that it ought to be. And I think what I remind people is that we got the visible and the invisible church. The invisible church actually is that way.
Right.
It is that way. It is every tribe, nation, and tongue. We are going to be worshiping with people that represent so many different communities and experiences and cultures. And that is to the glory of God. And that's an expression that Christ is over all of the world in love and compassion. Like that's going to happen, not because we will it or we want it, but because Christ is the head of the church. It's going down. With that being said, on this side of glory, glory, we have got to do the work of resisting sin. Yeah. And taking stock of who has power, social power, and who doesn't have power. And I think oftentimes what we see in multi-ethnic churches, multiracial churches, usually it's mainly multiracial churches, is that we can get a good photo op. There may be phenotypical diversity, but there's not a distribution of power and honor. Which is kind of one of the necessary components of what it means to be baptized in Christ together, that we are submitting to each other, that we are honoring each other, that we are walking together.
That was Ekemini Uwan and Dr. Christina Edmondson. Make sure to check out their new book, Truth's Table, and find more of that conversation at relevantmagazine.com. Okay, up next, it's your feedback.
Hypothetically speaking, I know time should bring a new season, but if I'm honest, right now everything's dreary, so I hold on to my spring theory. Hold on, spring theory. Hold on.
You're listening to Peabody. The song is Spring Theory. Okay, it's time for your feedback. Last week, I don't know how this came up. Why did we talk about diss tracks last week? Y'all remember?
Because of Pusha T.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what a diss track is, you guys. Am I old? What is
Pusha
this?
T, Arby's diss track.
I'm old.
It's when an artist makes a song with the intention of disrespecting.
Oh, I got it. Okay, got it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Puts down somebody else in his music.
Yeah.
So we got talking about that. And, we asked you what your favorite diss track of all time is. You guys hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast and answered us on Instagram as well. Here's a few of our favorites. Should we play clips? Let's play clips. All right. So we'll say the name and then Clark will play a clip. Here we go.
I like this one from Ben. It's Carly Simon's You're So Vain, because she never actually says who it's about. There's rumors that it could be about multiple different guys, but the line is, "You're so vain, I bet you think this song's about you." What a degree of psychological warfare she's playing with every person she's ever met, because they're all thinking that was a shotgun blast. You know what I mean? That wasn't a sniper shot of targeting. That is everyone. I bet you're thinking about it. What a play by Carly Simon. She was able to distract everyone in her life.
All right, here's a clip.
You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain.
All right, I love this one. The username is Love Light Music. It said the favorite diss track is Chris Tomlin's Our God, because it totally dunks on all other gods. Here's a clip.
Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer.
He ain't putting on the Ritz, I'll tell you that. I don't know about your God. But
every worship song is a diss track.
Listen, I'm not going to disparage someone.
I think that's the Rich Mullins version you're talking about. The putting on the Ritz one. Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm not trying to disparage other religions, but I know our God, he ain't putting on the Ritz, and I'm implying that yours is. And so how does that...
Buddha putting on the Ritz all the time. Our God's not
you
putting on the
worship
Ritz.
a God who puts on the Ritz. How does that feel? Not ours.
There's
He's
a
awesome.
lot of like Christian. I guess that kind of works for our crew. There's a lot of like Christian songs. Like this is like the W's, the devil is bad is a diss track on Satan, which I guess is fair.
And Lauren said that. Here's a clip of the W's classic, The Devil Is Bad.
Why don't you get it in? I don't want to see your face around here no more. Why don't you skiddly-do? Cause this is now and not before. Cause you all the devil and the devil is bad. Hey! You all the devil and the devil is bad. Hey! You all the devil and the devil is bad. Hey! You all the devil and you are bad.
Well, along those lines, Not Today by Hillsong United. That's a diss at the devil. Not today, Satan.
Not today, Satan.
We're just dissing the devil left and right.
Yeah.
Here's Hillsong United, Not Today.
He's got nothing.
I'll sing the night until the morning. I'll sing the fear until you praise. I'll sing the silence till you presence. Whenever I say that, like the devil, not today.
I actually, I don't do this. I responded to this question of the week. I got in on this action. They put at the very, because I said takeover. I thought Jay-Z's shot at Nas was one of the all timers, but the Jay-Z Nas feud just kept going for a long time. Although I think they kind of patched up, right? Aren't they friends now?
Probably.
All right, here's Takeover by Jay-Z.
When I was pushing weight back in 88, you was a ballerina. I got the pictures, I seen you. Then you dropped shook one, switch your demeanor. Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
This isn't on the list, but I'm watching the Kanye West documentary thing, and I'm not a Kanye West fan, so I don't know any of his music. But I think they said in there that he talks about Taylor Swift in one of his songs. I know the whole debacle on the stage, but does he talk about her in one of the songs?
He does.
That's a diss.
A little crap.
I think it was on Life of Pablo. He made a explicit reference to her.
Jamie's trying to get that clean rating off of our podcast. We're not playing it. We're not playing Jamie's suggestions.
Nice try, Jamie. Nice try.
That's what Coco's podcast is for. Those hot takes. You can take that to Coco's podcast.
Off the rails. Back to the cage, Coco.
This person said no scrubs. Are they talking about the song from TLC?
Yeah. TLC's No Scrubs. They're dissing guys who
a scrub is a guy who thinks he's fine.
I love that song. Hanging out the side of the passenger's, hanging out the passenger window of his best friend's ride. Yes.
Yeah. No scrubs.
No scrubs.
We're dissing all the scrubs.
I appreciate that song because they start off with the definition. Here's what a scrub
is a guy who can't get no love.
More songs should do that.
Let's define the terms here.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Any confusion here.
More songs should lead
the
with
first
that.
several verses.
Give us the
Webster's
scope.
Dictionary says, more songs need to start out that way, like high school term papers. All right, there's a lot more where that came from. Go look at our mentions at Relevant Podcast. Okay, it's time for this week's
editorial question of the week.
Earlier we were telling you about Jesse's experimental ape that works in their podcast studio there. And
good work.
Big news. The Coco Podcast Network is launching soon. And for this week's question of the week, we want your ideas for shows for the Coco Podcast Network. What shows would you like to see from Jesse's very well trained gorilla coworker?
And maybe the theme song should be who sings it? Gwen Stefani?
Banana.
See, looky there.
Yeah.
I got a theme song for it already.
I love it.
Thank you.
Tell you what, we will vote on everybody who responds, and the winner will get their podcast made by Coco.
Yeah. I'll say this. Don't expect a quick turnaround time because he's extremely slow. He's just now getting his first one done, and he's been at this about 4 years now. And I'll say this. It's not listenable. Some dark stuff with all those.
There's no way Spotify. There's no way Spotify's going to host it.
We're going to have to go on the dark web with this one.
All right, hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast, and you can
find
also
it on Rumble. Free speech links for all species.
The Truth Social Network is going to host it. All right, hit us up for your show ideas for the Coco Podcast Network. Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Ekemini Uwan and Dr. Christina Edmondson for joining us today. You can pre-order their book, Truth Table, now. Also, check out more of that conversation at relevantmagazine.com. Hey, while you're at the site, make sure to check out our spring issue. We have amazing conversations with filmmaker Adam McKay, Madison Pruitt, Maisie Peters, Channing Tatum, Ryan Reynolds, Bob Goff, Shauna Niequist, so much more. It is jam-packed and it's available for free. You can see a free version at relevantmagazine.com. You can also get the enhanced version ad-free by subscribing to Relevant Plus. It's one of the key benefits of Relevant Plus, as well as ad-free unlimited reading at the website, exclusive version of this podcast, like I mentioned, an exclusive new podcast called Relevant Plus Conversations, and more benefits coming. Go check out all the information, find the plan that fits your budget. Things start as low as $250 a month. You can find out everything at relevantmagazine.com. Also, don't miss our daily devotional series, Deeper Walk, which is presented by Lumo. We publish a morning devotional each weekday, and you can also sign up to get that devotional sent to your email address. It's right there in the faith section at relevantmagazine.com. Much appreciation to Lumo for making Deeper Walk possible. It's a great way to start your day. Also, if you like the show, make sure to review it and rate it wherever you listen, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the spots. It helps the algorithm, helps people find it, and we love seeing the feedback. If you don't like the show, just keep it to yourself. This is a positive place. This is a place where there's love and happiness. Okay. On that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Jamie Ivey.
I'm Tyler Huckabee.
All right, we'll see you next time.
For listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
Help, Coco! Help, Coco!
Relevant Podcast Network.